Hello and welcome to a tutorial by MrMcMillanREvis, making revision easier. This tutorial is part of a series on Edexcel GCSE Religious Studies, Unit 3.4, Religion and Community Cohesion. In Part 3 we will look at religious teachings on community cohesion. What does the Catholic Church teach about community cohesion? The Catholic Church, which is itself a multi-ethnic community, is committed to promoting equality among people regardless of race, class or religion. This is sometimes referred to as racial harmony. The Catechism states that every form of social or cultural discrimination on the grounds of sex, race, colour, social conditions, language or religion must be curbed and eradicated as incompatible with God's design. In other words, being racist is incompatible with being a Christian. The Church says it rejects as foreign to the mind of Christ any discrimination against men or harassment of them because of their race, colour, condition of life or religion. Why does the Church believe in promoting racial harmony? First and foremost, the Church appeals to the example of Jesus, who demonstrated a desire for social harmony in a number of ways. Firstly, in the parable of the Good Samaritan in Luke chapter 10, Jesus tells the story of a Jewish man who is robbed and left for dead. A priest and a Levite pass by on the other side, before eventually a Samaritan stops to help the wounded man. Jesus deliberately uses the example of a Samaritan, who were the Jews' most hated enemy, to teach that the command to love your neighbour extends to anyone in need, regardless of their ethnicity or nationality. On a number of other occasions, Jesus defied the social conventions of his day to demonstrate equality among all peoples. For example, in John chapter 4, Jesus talks with a Samaritan woman at a well and treats her with dignity. This would have been shocking for his followers because she was both a Samaritan and a woman, but Jesus went out of his way to challenge existing prejudice. In Luke chapter 7, Jesus heals a Roman centurion's servant, even though most Jews did not associate with Romans, and in doing so he challenged the long-held prejudices and racism of his day. The Church also appeals to the teachings of the apostles Peter and Paul. In the Acts of the Apostles chapter 10, St. Peter has a vision in which God challenges him to eat animals that his Jewish upbringing taught him were unclean. When he later goes to the house of a Gentile, Peter realizes the meaning of his vision. I now realize how true it is that God does not show favoritism, but accepts men from every nation who fear him and do what is right. In his letter to the Galatians, St. Paul emphasized that for those in Christ, the distinctions that society uses do not apply. He writes, "For all of you who are baptized into Christ have clothed yourself with Christ. There is neither Jew nor Greek, slave nor free, male nor female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus." How does the Church try to support asylum seekers and immigrant workers? The Church believes that its teachings on racial harmony mean that Catholic Christians should actively seek to help those who might be victim to prejudice and discrimination. In the UK, asylum seekers and immigrants can often be the target for prejudice, so in the last few years the Church has done a number of things to help Catholics support these groups. Firstly, a couple of definitions. Asylum seekers, sometimes called refugees, are people who have been forced from their homes either as a result of war or natural disasters and seek to settle temporarily or permanently in another country. Immigrant workers refer to those who move to another country in search of work. So what has the Church done to support these groups? Firstly, the Church in England and Wales has set up the Office for Refugee Policy in order to help Catholic parishes to support refugees and immigrants as they move to the country, as well as to speak out on relevant issues. In 2008, the Bishops' Conference suggested a number of strategies that local parishes could use to support immigrants. This included providing English language courses, translating important information leaflets into other languages, practically supporting families by helping to provide accommodation and furniture. Some parishes, particularly in urban areas with higher levels of immigration, have begun to provide legal advisors to support immigrants as they settle in the Church. Other parishes have helped immigrants to integrate into the local church by providing opportunities for worship in foreign languages. How do all religions work to promote community cohesion? In the last 100 years, as the world has become more globalized and people from different religions are more likely to live and work alongside each other, there has been a growing desire for religions to work together. This has led to the development of what is called the Interfaith Movement, or interfaith dialogue. The purpose of the Interfaith Movement is to encourage dialogue, understanding and tolerance between different religious groups, as well as foster cooperation between religions. The Interfaith Movement can be seen in many different ways, from large international interfaith initiatives, such as the World Interfaith Harmony Week, to national groups, such as Interfaith Scotland, right down to local events such as Interfaith Week in York. In the UK, leaders of all the major religious groups have agreed on a national framework on religious education, so that every young person in Britain has the opportunity to study different faiths. Finally, the interfaith movement has led to some particular religious groups creating special wedding services for couples from mixed faith backgrounds. For example, many Reformed synagogues have special ceremonies for when a Jew wishes to marry a Christian. Thanks for watching. I've been Mr. McMillan. Remember, you can download audio versions of all my videos from iTunes.